Hi everyone, welcome to the Frog Pond. Swag Frog here, and today we're going to be covering something I figured I'd make a new series about, where I'm going to be calling it Everything About, where we just do a deep dive on a certain team, usually a popular team, and just show how they work and why they work, a little bit of modding tips and stuff like that. So, without further ado, let's get going. And a quick note, I am doing Galactic Legend of Ahsoka Tano. I'm trying to push for her day one free to play on this account. So if you're interested in checking that out, check my live streams, as well as if you'd like to see regular updates on that, please do let me know in the comments, and I will try and make regular videos if that's something you guys want to see. Anyways, so today's episode of Everything About, as you've probably seen on the title or thumbnail, is going to be on the Phoenix Squadron. So we're just going to be taking a look into how this team ticks, everything that goes on between their kits, just reading off their kits and important abilities, just to kind of show what's going on here. The most optimal team that I've and most other people have found is Hera lead with Captain Rex, Chopper, Sabine, and Kanan. There are two big pieces to the puzzle in this team, number one being Hera and number two being Captain Rex. And the most important part is Hera's lead, which is going to give every Phoenix ally each other's unique abilities. And then that also gives them turn meter whenever a Phoenix ally uses a special ability, and it doubles up to 40% when they are not quite full health. Her Omicron ability is nice for territory wars, but not necessary. It's not super important. If you want to apply it, it's not a bad one to apply. It can help you with stuff like Inquisitors, but I haven't had an issue with using them without the Omicron in territory wars, so really that one's up to you. Next piece of the puzzle is Captain Rex, and Captain Rex Lost Commander, a unique ability, is going to be what is spreading to all of the Phoenix allies and really making everything tick. First off, it's going to give some extra stats, just like 25% crit chance, 40% max health, additional speed, tenacity, and then the most important part is right here. When any other Phoenix ally uses a special ability, he assists, dealing 40% less damage. And the Clone Trooper part isn't super relevant, as you're not using him with Clone Troopers as much as you're using him with Phoenix. And that's not exactly what we're covering here in today's video. So just note it is there, but next, whenever a Clone Trooper or Phoenix ally is inflicted with a debuff, Rex gains 5% turn meter per debuff, and all allies recover 5% health and protection. Note that all of this does still spread to every single Phoenix ally, so they'll all be getting constant turn meter. Really good against like Inquisitors, who are constantly inflicting purge and stuff of that nature, because it's just going to drive a ton of turn meter to the team, and it's also going to heal the team. And it does heal the entire team, so you're going to get 25% health recovery protection per debuff. I don't know that it actually stacks, because that's something I'll have to look into later, but I feel like it would just be 5%, because 25% seems a little ridiculous. So anyways, his Omicron is really good. It's going to give him an additional 30% crit damage and an additional 60% max health and 25 speed. This also applies to Phoenix allies. So okay, so quick note, something I think I have realized is anything specifically calling out Rex is not going to spread to the rest of the Phoenix allies, because they are not Rex. So just a little note there, if it does say Rex, it's not going to spread to the rest of the team, so they're not going to get that additional 25% crit chance, max health, speed, and tenacity. And only Rex gets the 5% turn meter per debuff, and whenever they get debuffed, only he spreads the 5% health and protection. But they do still get the assisting ability, which is really, really nice, and extra recovery can't hurt at all. And while they're in 5v5 grand arenas and all allies are Phoenix at the start of the battle. Whenever an ally is inflicted with ability block or daze, dispel it, inflict 2 damage over times on all enemies for 3 turns. It's not usually terribly relevant in the teams that you're countering with it, but it can be very annoying. So it's a very nice Omicron. I would say it's a better apply than Hera's. So they're also going to, or whenever Captain Rex specifically uses his basic ability, he's going to recover 10% health and protection, which is also really nice because once again he is assisting every single time that an ally is using a special ability, which also, thanks to Hera, is pumping turn meter throughout the entire team. The next part is a little bit of a modding tip here. Even though Krex is getting extra speed thanks to his unique ability, you still want to mod him to be very, very fast. I have him at 301. I get that that's not like super, super fast, but my mods are alright, and some of them need some work, but you want him to be fast and you want him to have some extra health. Pretty important. Just you want him to take the first turn essentially in the match so that he can immediately lead with suppressing fire, which is going to inflict tenacity down, which can't be evaded, and then daze all enemies for 2 turns and obviously inflict physical damage. And it's also going to put down offense down. So not only is it dazing the enemies, but it's also making them deal less damage. And then on top of that, all Clone Trooper and Phoenix allies are going to get 5% additional turn meter for each debuff applied by this ability. So if it hits on every single enemy, it is 50% turn meter for all of your Phoenix allies, which is insane if you get that out immediately, as it's going to pretty much just grant them the ability to all go right after Captain Rex goes. He also gives allies crit chance up and offense up, so it just makes them hit a little bit harder as well. And I don't know if it's in here. Okay, never mind. I'll get to that later, potentially, if I find it again. Anyways, his other specials, pretty generic. You don't really need the Zeta on it, as resetting the cooldown isn't super, super necessary. It's just essentially just a stun. It's not, I mean, it recovers some protection and some health, but it's just a special and a stun in most cases, so I mean, I'd still upgrade it. And then his basic is actually really nice because whenever it does crit, you're going to dispel all debuffs on Captain Rex and another random Clone Trooper or Phoenix ally. This is also an important part with the team building. This is specifically why Sabine is really nice in the team, which I will go over right now. So with Sabine, her unique ability, which is getting spread to all of the allies, is going to give them an additional 25% crit chance and 25% crit damage. And while this may seem like kind of a dry unique with not a lot to it, the extra 25% crit chance is really, really great for Captain Rex, as Captain Rex, when you get him relicked up and everything, he's going to have, if you're not pushing for it, he's not going to have a ton of crit chance. So that extra 25% is going to get him to crit a lot more. And then the crit damage also helps take care of stuff like getting through Inquisitors a lot faster. When they've got Reva on there, it can be quite a nightmare to burn them through. It just takes a lot of time. So having Sabine on the field is really, really nice. Also, her special Demolish is very, very good. This is another good Zeta to have on the team. At this level, it doesn't seem great as it just exposes, staggers. It's not bad, but it's really the Zeta where it starts to get some extra oomph to it. It's going to give crit chance up to Phoenix allies, offense up, reduce her cooldowns on crits, stagger all enemies, and for each Mandalorian and Phoenix ally, it'll deal 15% more damage, making it do an absolutely outrageous amount of damage, 75% extra damage, very good, and expose a random enemy. It's just a really good Zeta to have, as it's just going to make her use her abilities much more frequently, and it's also going to do quite a lot of damage as an AoE attack. Next up, Kanan is very, very nice. He also has another Zeta that is probably the second best Zeta to put on this team. First off, his unique ability gives all Phoenix allies, since they're all getting shared by Hera, they're all going to get 70% counter chance, and then they will recover 25% health whenever they get debuffed. So more resilience every single time they're getting hit with a debuff just makes them go crazy. They love getting debuffed, which is why they are such a perfect match to counter Inquisitors. The more the Purge is spreading, the more they're going to get turn meter, the more they're going to get health back and just recover. They're just really, really resilient, and then on top of the extra counter chance, it's just really nice. And then Kanan is just a pretty generic tank from there. You just like him taunting, using specials as much as you can, and then his Zeta is very, very nice, as it full cleanses all the debuffs off all Phoenix allies, gives them defense up, it gives him and the ally he targets with this ability foresight and protection up, and then whenever the foresight expires, he's going to get 100% turn meter, and other Phoenix allies are going to get 50% turn meter. So it is contributing again to the turn meter train that this team can pull. They can get going very, very fast, and they just stay going for a long time, especially if the enemy team is passively applying debuffs. Even if they're not passively applying debuffs, they still get started pretty fast, and with the days and everything going on from Captain Rex, then they're going to not only run a turn meter train around your opponents, but they're also going to do a lot preventing them from getting bonus turn meter and catching up with your turn meter train, because they've already been dazed by Captain Rex. Next up and last up is Chopper. Chopper is also absolutely fantastic on this team. I like having a little bit of extra speed on him, as it helps get his Metal Menace ability out there to dispel all buffs on a target enemy, and it's also going to reduce all enemies' turn meter by 10%, which is pretty good. And it's going to recover Chopper a little bit as well. It stuns droid allies too, which isn't completely irrelevant, but it's a little bit of flavor. And then his unique ability is really where he shines, because at the start of his turn, he's going to recover 15% health, and whenever he's damaged by an attack, he's going to get protection up for 2 turns if he doesn't already have protection up. Chopper's going to have a 30% chance to assist, and when another Phoenix or droid ally uses an ability during their turn, he has a 30% chance to assist. So just whenever they use a special, which happens a lot, so it's quite nice. Though the assist is not shared with Phoenix allies, so it just gets him out there and going a little bit more. His basic is nice, as it does deal physical damage to an enemy. Duh, that's what a basic does. Sorry, I'm just reading right here. And it's also going to give a Phoenix ally a buff, defense up, offense up, or speed up at random. And it also has a chance to reduce that ally's turn meter or cooldowns by 1, which, since you're assisting so much, Chopper is going to be frequently reducing the Phoenix team's cooldowns, making them able to use specials more frequently, reducing Commander Rex's or Captain Rex's cooldowns, so that he can use his suppressing fire again and again and again and continue running that turn meter loop. So getting the basic upgraded and having Chopper on the team is pretty important to how the team works, and that was what I was iffy on earlier, is how they reduce their cooldowns. It is Chopper's basic. So, and then I didn't get to the rest of Hera. Hera is pretty nice. Her Zeta it's pretty good. If you plan on getting all the Zetas on this team, definitely not a bad one to have. They're all pretty good. They weren't really good until you got Captain Rex on the team, but now that Captain Rex is on the team, they are very, very nice to have. As without the Zeta, this ability will just call another ally to assist, give them 25% potency, and deal more damage for the attack. But when you do put the Zeta on there, it's going to give them a little bit of additional potency. It's also going to dispel debuffs on them, once again cleansing them off, getting off that daze or whatever's on them. And then it's going to reduce their cooldowns, once again continuing to run that turn meter train. If you keep calling Captain Rex, then he can keep using Suppressing Fire and keep giving your Phoenix allies a bunch of turn meter. And then that is also supported by Hera's lead ability, as that pumps turn meter to the entire Phoenix team when they are using special abilities. So just keeping everything going and going and going. And it also gives them 50% turn meter, which is kind of unnecessary with all of the turn meter shenanigans we've been talking about. But really, there's no point not to have these Zetas. This team runs circles around your opponents. It is really, really nice to have. Ultimately, with the addition of Captain Rex, this team has gone from a bottom feeder team to a very, very strong endgame contending team. It is mostly used to counter stuff like Riva, because it's very, very good at it. But it's great on defense early game, because all these characters are super attainable, and the team is really stinking difficult to beat. Because if you put debuffs on them, then suddenly they're going to be running a turn meter train on you and healing everything up that you've been trying to do. And if you don't apply debuffs on them, then they're going to do the exact same thing because they keep getting back around to it. A couple of quick modding tips for the rest of the characters. Once again, speed on Chopper. I do like a little bit of speed on Hera, a little bit of extra health, and then I like lots and lots of health on Kanan. All of these should be protection. They don't really need all that much speed because Captain Rex is pumping a ton of turn meter throughout the entire team, so he's the only one you need super, super fast. And he's the one I would recommend working on most on the team, but still don't forget about extra speed on Hera and Chopper, mostly for turn order and just keeping the train going, but focus primarily on Captain Rex. For Sabine, I just like crit chance, crit damage, make her hit a little bit harder. Her basic does hit a couple times. It does less damage, 75% less each time it hits, but it still does do a healthy chunk of damage, and she can do a pretty decent portion of damage on the team. So, and then if you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you would like to see more like this, go ahead and comment down below. And I am always up for suggestions. If there is another team you want to see everything about, then just let me know in the comments below, and I would love to make more personalized and individualized videos for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry I can't stream Grand Arena. School schedule is getting a little bit busy, but you guys are the best. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.